Okay, welcome back. Before the break, your colleague Mike here asked a very pertinent question. But who can remember what the question? Okay, that's exactly why I write things down. All right, so the question was, what is the number one action I can take as an employer, as a manager, as a supervisor to prevent employee lawsuits? What can I do to prevent my workers from suing me? And the answer to that question is basically quite simple. And I'm going to give you the answer, but not just now, because the process of arriving at the answer to that question is a little bit of a process. And I'm going to approach that process similar to peeling back the layers of an onion. And we'll work on that together this morning. Yeah, yes, I said onion. You know, the little vegetable that you chop up and saute with oil and serve with steak. Oh, it is getting close to lunch, isn't it? Okay, back to work. So, similar to the layers of an onion, this issue has many layers to it. So let's look at the first layer of this issue through a little interactive activity. But I'd like you to, okay, I can see some people rolling their eyes. I know for some people, getting together with strangers first thing in the morning, people who you've never met before, is a little uncomfortable. However, what I'll say to you about that is this. You're together here in this classroom environment. Take advantage of the knowledge of the people around you, and don't hesitate to share your wisdom and knowledge and experience with those around you. Okay, enough said. So I'd like you to work in groups of 2 or in trios just for about 3 or 5 minutes, folks, and come up with 3 or 4 reasons why employees sue. Okay, any questions about this activity? Oh, no, it's not a test. You won't be graded. I just want you to come up with a list off the top of your head based on your knowledge and experience. What do you think? Why do you think employees are going to sue you? And you only need 3 or 4 items on that list. Okay. Okay, you're so into what you're doing. I hate to interrupt, but in the interest of time, we need to march on. So this group here, Joanne, I'll ask you to speak for the group. What was one of the items on your list? Money absolutely is a good reason why people sue. However, it's not the primary motivator. What's another one? What else did you got? Compensation for pain and suffering. Absolutely. Many employees believe that they have been traumatized following the loss of a job, and therefore they want to be compensated for that trauma. Absolutely. A motivating factor, but not number 1 on the list. Okay? I can see, go ahead. I can see you want to say something. Revenge? Hey, that's an excellent answer. If you've taken something away from me as lucrative as my job, it's only human nature that I may very well want to get back at you. Okay? And here, exactly, we're really getting somewhere here, is where we're peeling back the layers of the onion, and this is the next layer. So if revenge is a motivator, what are the thoughts and ideas and feelings behind revenge? But I feel like you deserve it. Okay? Why? What's happened to me? You make me feel bad about myself. You've caused me to lose self-respect. Respect being the key word there, ladies and gentlemen. And that is the number 1 reason why your employees will take legal action against you, because you failed to respect them somewhere during the employment process or during the termination process. You have failed to demonstrate the respect that they perceive that they deserve. Remember, it's an issue of perception in the mind of the employee who is going to take the legal action against you. So let me give you a quick example of how the perception of self-respect will motivate somebody to take legal action. This is a real life story. Young woman by the name of Haley applied for a job. She's eminently qualified for the job. She gets to the company and sits down in the reception area of the human resources department, and she engages in a brief conversation with the receptionist there while she's waiting. And essentially, what the two women talk about is children, and Haley tells the receptionist that she in fact has 3 children at home and that she is a single mom, and she's really looking forward to this this opportunity at this company. So she goes into the interview and she talks to the director of human resources, and she is questioned about her ability to work overtime, and she is questioned about her ability to travel out of town, 2 or 3 evenings a week or something to that effect. Okay, end of interview, off she goes. A few days later, she's notified that she did not get the job, and she files a complaint, a human rights complaint. She's claiming that her human rights were illegally violated. What do you suppose the basis for her lawsuit was? So how does the Haley scenario answer the original question that we're working to answer here? What's the number one action I can take to prevent employee lawsuits? I'd like you to write these items down. This is going to be your action list for when you get back to work starting tomorrow. Result of clearly written policies and training. And number 4th on your list, go out and get yourself a new guide or handbook, a self-help book that is relevant to your profession. As years of practicing as a legal representative before courts and tribunals, I always believed that the law and the letter of the law and having current knowledge of the up-to-date law was the most important skill that I needed to possess. Until one day I read a self-help guide, very simple little manual entitled Human Resources at Work. Excuse me. And in there, the author wrote about a survey that helped determine this concept that the perception of disrespect is the number one reason why employees will sue you. And I said to myself, a light went off in my head when I read that, and I said to myself, I've always known this from experience, but had never really expressed it in those concrete terms before, that the perception of respect was so important in the employer-employee relationship and in the insulation of that relationship from lawsuits. So go out and get yourself a self-help guide, a self-help manual that's related to your profession, and take the time to read it. And I bet that you will pick up 1 or